Hello Flosstube, my name is Jani. Welcome to my channel. This is a Flosstube. It's a YouTube channel where we talk about our cross stitch, fabric, floss, adventures, progress, and everything in between. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. Take a cup of coffee, a tea or something, and hope you have a good time. And if you are an old friend, a returning subscriber, welcome again, and thank you always for your company and for your love. I want to start this video talking a little about me because first of all, I want to send all my love and all the best wishes to my dear friend Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitches, to her family and to her, because she always is doing such an amazing work for our community and for all the stitching world, and everybody know her and we all love her, and she's an amazing person. So as we usually say, stitchy friends are the best kind of friends. She's amazing. So yeah, she sent a beautiful shout out to my channel in her last video, and a few new people have arrived and visiting my channel and or just find it. So I want to introduce myself again. My name is Jani. I'm a Mexican stitcher and I've been stitching for more than 30 years, and it has always been my goal to become part of the community, to talk about my love for cross stitch, and sometimes the struggles of being Mexican stitchers and the difficulties that we have, because we can always have access to those wonderful materials and patterns and fabrics and flosses and everything that in another countries are very much common to get, but that's why we usually use our creativity to trying to create our own stash or our own materials, and that's part of why I start dyeing my fabrics and my flosses. This is a little example of who I am. If you're new, I love Mirabilias. The moment I saw Nora Corbett's designs on internet, I said, oh my god, what I need to do to get those patterns. And yeah, slowly I start to make a collection of patterns and finishing pieces. So this is the most recent I finished, and in this this is a Nora Corbett design. It's called Glistening Leaves, yeah, I think. And this is very much the kind of taste that I like, or the kind of combination that I use. I love those strikes of colors. My fabrics really becoming a part of the design, and not just complementing the design, but in cases like a background canvas to help the design, well, at least in my opinion. So I love to play with my fabrics, and I'm always trying to do something, you know, sometimes crazy, but in this case it's a really small design, and the piece of fabric I dyed with the ice dye technique, and I have some videos in my channel. I will link the videos in the information box. So yeah, I love to play with that type of combination. And at the beginning it was the result of me being unable to to get this kind of fabrics, you know, from sugar maple fabrics or Picture This Plus, because it was hard to arrive to Mexico, and you know, some difficulties. So I start to dye my own, and again with the flosses. These are some of the flosses that I prepare for the Mexican retreat, because that is something else that I did, and it's thank you to the community and the, you know, the collaboration with the stitchers around the world, because I was again in awe with the beautiful retreats around the world. And some of the ladies of the my stitchy friends told me, you know what, perhaps you can organize one in your country. So I did that. And it's a lot of work, but it's all worth it, because it's an amazing experience. Again, for all of you new, I tend to giggle a lot, and it's because of the nervous. English is, of course, not my first language, so I'm usually nervous when I'm recording a floss tube. But I guess it's more my love for the cross stitching and, you know, the community, and trying to share again these adventures and this love for this hobby. And I know it's important, because it has been important for me. I learned so much from all of your channels and all of you stitchers around the world. So I try again to try to be a little window of the stitching community here in Mexico. So yeah, I love Mirabilias. I love dyeing my fabrics and my flosses to create my own stash. I also love chatelaine. Martina Weber was one of the first designers that I knew through internet, and the same with Nora. It was a shock for me. Such a beautiful use of the colors and the crystals, and it was another world. So I need to have again all the the kits and the charts from Chatelaine. Of course I couldn't have all of the charts, but I was able to get some of the kits, and I have finished some of Martina's beautiful designs, and I have a bunch of whips. Almost 50, yeah. And that's again another thing that here in the community we can learn. There is not a right thing to do cross stitch, or a unique way to do cross stitch. We can all learn from each other, and the objective is to enjoy ourselves and our craft, and find the right way for us to be a stitcher. At the beginning, when I started this channel 3 years ago, I really wanted to become a good stitcher because again, that's something that you wrongly think that you are not stitching right, but it's something that you need to learn, that the things that you are doing are right. Of course you can learn a lot, but you need to love the things you do. I hope I am making some sense. So yeah, I was telling you that at the beginning with my channel I tried to stitch with hoops and with Q-snaps and with the stands. My lovely husband even make me some stands so I can, you know, stitch as the rest of the stitchers that I was watching, you know, the proper way. And I slowly realized that it was not the method for me. I need to stitch in hand. I need to feel the fabric in my hand, and you know, with the sewing method I find my way. And it was a struggle because I think that I thought that it was not a valid way to stitch if I stitch in hand without a hoop, but that is not true. I mean, it's wonderful to stitch with a hoop and having that method, and it's wonderful to stitch in hand, and we are both valid stitchers. and we joke a little about the cross stitch police, that is not going to come for you if you're not stitched properly. You know, your back has to be perfect, and everything has to be according to the techniques that you need to apply in your stitching. So I start slowly to develop that joy for my stitching and enjoying my stitching the way I did it. So yeah, and with the Mexican retreat, last year was the first one, and this year, a few weeks ago, we finished our second one, and it was it's like all the retreats. You enter in the room of the retreat and it's a transformation. You feel all the energy and all the love, and you know, you see all your stitching friends, so you know you are in the right place. So that's some of the main themes that we talk about in the retreat. We of course can help each other stitchers to develop certain techniques and how to start and how to finish, and even I have videos how to lace your own work and how to frame it. I laced and framed this this piece. Most of my pieces I do it myself. It's a matter of love and a matter of economy. So I really enjoyed it. And again, it's not necessary that you have to frame all your pieces. You can finish in so many ways. Let me show you. I finished this little, I don't know how is the word in English, I'm sorry. But I was in the retreat very early in the morning, and I decided to stitch this little butterfly to show the ladies that you can use everything to stitch and to reflect your craft. And yeah, you don't need certain types of materials. Again, with Aida, this is a piece of Aida 14. So the general idea was that Aida was a lesser fabric, and it's not. It's a fantastic material. I love stitching on Aida, and I love stitching on Lugana, and more recently on Linen 40, or you know, even higher. And start to knowing samplers, which I don't really know before, and it was not part of my taste. But now I found it, as many of us, and it's not just you know, to be hip or to be cool. I'm a cool mom. And but because just you start to understand all this history behind those pieces, so it's fantastic. And the rhythm of the samplers, and you know, all the combination. And again, I start to play with my fabrics and to play with changing the colors. And for example, a beautiful sampler with many colors, I start to make it monochromatic or with a variation flaws, and you know, trying to put my own style. So yeah. That's basically who am I, who I am. I'm a Mexican stitcher with a lot of things always to do, but most of it with a big love for cross stitch. And yeah. So if you're new, I have more than 100 videos in Spanish if you want to learn Spanish. Please. And almost 100, no, or 101, 102 videos in English. So yeah, and it was that aspect. It was also an interesting process, because I start my channel in English because most of my stitchy friends were English, you know, Americans or European stitchers from England. So I, you know, sometimes really badly start to talk in English with them, and try to be part of those channels or those stitchy friends, and trying to communicate in English. And thanks to that, I start to discover my own community, my Spanish friends and Latin American friends. And now it's you know, it's like having the best of both worlds. I have my wonderful English friends and my adorable Latin American and Spanish friends. So yeah. And well, lately another dream of mine, beside, you know, be part of the community and letting other people know our stitching. I start to design a little bit. I was really afraid because you know, all those wonderful designs, and I don't really, at the beginning, I didn't think that I have what it takes to be a designer, and I'm sure I'm still not having that. But again, I'm enjoying the process, and it's always so satisfying to see another stitchers take one of my designs and make that design their own. So yeah, it's been a dream come true. So I start this year with this little sampler. It's I call it the friendship sampler, because all of these it's not just, you know, a nice name, but it's really what I feel. So it's all of us represented here. In this design, I added my name, but in the original design, it's the full ABC. So yeah, and again, the colors that I really like, and I start to play a little with it. So yeah, this was stitched on Aida 14, because it's a wonderful fabric. And even though I love linen and even with I guess there are both, there are all fabrics beautiful. So yeah, and after that I stitch and I design and stitch Mexicanita to represent part of my culture, and this border, I really love it. Is based on the ceramic from Puebla, and the butterfly, which is this butterfly, it has very much to do with my state. We receive every year the monarch butterfly, and it's a wonderful spectacle, a show. No, it's not a show. Well, you know what I mean. So yeah, this is Mexicanita, and I try to, in this case, to do something special with her hair, not quite adding specialty stitches, but you know, trying to play a little with just cross stitch. So yeah, I'm really happy how the hair turned out. So yeah, and finally this year not this year finally I finished Katrina. Katrina, it's a design to celebrate our tradition for the Dia de los Muertos. So I was really inspired, and I really want to take that celebration and those colors and that feeling of joy and sorrow and beauty in this little design. So that's how it came out, Katrina. And it has been a slow process, my designing style, because I first make the patterns, and then I have to stitch it. I need to feel the design, and you know, making some changes and adding some stuff, and you know, so I can say, you know what, this is the design, I like it. So yeah, I'm already working on my next design, but yeah, I'm very happy. And in last year retreat, I make a little Mexican girl, and I finished her as part of the give back for the attendees to the retreat, and I gave away my my stitching piece. And this year I finished this sampler, very much inspired by my city, because the retreat was here in my city, and this is a very traditional part of my city, the aqueduct. So yeah, this has been my designer phase, and I'm really happy. So for all of you who don't know me or who are new in my channel, welcome. I usually do some videos with where I dye my fabric, or when I talk about my whips or new projects. So yeah, almost everything is stitchy related, but I like to also take you to my city and, you know, around my country, because we usually do trips with my husband on his motorcycle. So we travel, and I always bring my stitching, because that's another thing. I love to stitch everywhere. You know, ABC always bring cross stitch, so I love to walk on my city and take a coffee and bring my stitching and start stitching. And yeah, sometimes people find me a little strange because it's not very common, but I really enjoyed it, and it's part also of being able to share the the love of this art, because many of the comments that I receive is, you know what, we thought that it was just an old lady hobby that not many ladies still do it, but yeah, we do it. So, and I usually try to stitch on the week, but sometimes life and work and family, adulting. But this week I start a new project because I need to reach my goal of 50 weeks. And I start this beautiful design by Kathy Barrick, HL's Moth, and it's so strange and so beautiful. my one of my daughters saw the project, and she said, oh, it's beautiful, but it's so not your style. And I say, I know, that's why I love it. So yeah, it's a beautiful design. So I was wondering if I already have all the flosses. I usually use DMC. We don't have very much access to fancy flosses, and I usually stitch with DMC or Anchor. I also like Anchor very much. So of course I have all the DMC because I have, as stitchers, we have all the numbers of DMC, the full set. So I start, let me remove this. I start this design with a really atypical fabric, because again, you all already knew me, and I have to change the fabric. So yeah, it's my start. I have to redo all of this wing because I make a mistake. And again, I'm not always on stitch, but in this case I needed to. So yeah, but I stitch it again, and I am loving it. The fabric, it's again a piece of Aida. In this episode I'm just showing Aidas, but I promise you I also use another fabrics. But Aida, you rock. And yeah, this piece of dyed fabric, it was a little strange because I dyed this with a lot of like leftovers of coloring, and it was like the last piece of fabric that I did that day, because I usually make a lot of fabrics in one day. So I was not really happy with it. And besides, I baked this a little, so it has a little of burns. It was a little strange. So, but I thought, what, it's going to look amazing with these colors, and I am loving it. I am stitching extra careful because this is such a light color against the dark fabric that you have to make your stitches look nice. So I'm trying to stitch slowly and pretty. And yeah, this is my project of the week. I wanted to really work on it and finish it soon, but I had a mistake. So yeah, it's not going to happen. But yeah, that's my rambling and my introduction and my video of the week. I hope you enjoy, a little bit. I will insert pictures in the video so you can have an idea, especially if you're new, of my pieces and some of my stuff. But yeah, you are very, very welcome. Again, a big hug to Michelle. I love her dearly because she's amazing, and to her family. So yeah, I hope I will see you next week with a new video with more progress, or I don't know, talking about something else. So yeah, until the next time, thank you for watching and have a good week. All my love. Bye bye.